Hey there, welcome to Mike's Collection, episode 261. I'm Mike, and the part of my collection that I'm going to talk about today is my best action figures of 2023, part 2. So, what I've done in the past, ever since I started blogging about toys back in 2012, is I would look at all the toys I bought that year, and I would start eliminating them, and I'd come down to a list of like my top 20, and I would present it to you guys. Last year was the first year I decided to bring you in on the whole process. So rather than just showing you my final 20, I would show you all the figures that I had, and I let you watch me eliminate them and get down to my final 20. Now that was kind of fun to do, but there were so many figures over the course of the year that I couldn't do it all in one video because I didn't have enough room on my desk to display all the action figures. So I had to do it over the course of 7 videos that I shot in like the last week of 2022. And it was a lot of work, and it was a big mess to get all those toys out at one time and do those videos. So in 2023, I decided what I was going to do is quarterly videos. So I would present all the toys I bought in a given quarter. I would put them all on my desk at once. I would do the elimination. I would get down to say my top 20 of each quarter. And then at the end of the year, I could take all of those figures and do kind of a best of out of those final, let's say, 80 figures. So it is currently the first week of July 2023. So we are now halfway through the year. I previously did a video for my first quarter, in which case 17 figures progressed to the next round. And now I've got another pile of figures here. I'm going to go through those, try to eliminate as many as I can. There's not a set number for me to get to. I'm not trying to get to 20 or 17 or whatever. If it's only 6 or 7 figures that go through, so be it. So without further ado, why don't we dive into it? I've got all my figures here on my desk right beside me, and I'm scared if I wait too long, they're all going to start toppling over like dominoes. So let's flip things around, and we're going to take a look at the action figures I bought this past quarter. So these are all the action figures that I purchased this quarter. So it seems like a lot. I think there are about 86 or 87 figures in here. So I'm still on par for almost a figure a day, because I had about 90 figures for the first quarter, and now another almost 90 for this quarter. So what we're going to do is we're going to start eliminating these figures. Now, before I get to the desk here, I do have a couple other figures from this quarter that are carded, and I just couldn't fit them on the desk. So here are some carded figures. Now, of these carded figures, the only one here that would not qualify for this video is the Batman Who Laughs Superpowers figure, and that is because this was released last year. I passed on it last year, even though I am collecting this line. I just don't really care for this character, but I got him recently on sale. So yeah, he wouldn't qualify for the best of 2023 because that's a 2022 release. So yeah, we'll get rid of him. Now, of the other carded figures, I've got a couple more superpowers. I've got Nightwing. So he was released this year, but I'm not a huge Nightwing fan. Even though it's a nice figure, this would not make best of the year for me. Deathstroke, this one's pretty cool. But again, just not a best of the year figure for me, I don't think. So he'll be eliminated as well. The fact that these guys are carded doesn't automatically eliminate them. And that brings us to our black hole figures. So I've got 3 of them here. I've got Vincent, Old Bob, and Maximilian. Now, I like these figures quite a bit. And I haven't opened them just because I think they look so great on these individual cards that showcase the character. So I don't think I'm going to eliminate them just yet. I might hold on to all 3 of them, and we'll come back to them later. Now, I do have some Masters of the Universe figures as well. Now, the reason I haven't opened these guys yet is because I'm planning on doing a review video on these guys very soon, and I just wanted to get some shots of them while they're still carded before I open them up for a review. So they're all cool characters. We've got Wondar He-Man here. Now, this is just a He-Man repaint, so it's not it's not best of the year material for me, so he would be eliminated anyway, regardless of whether he was opened or not. Grizzlor, he's a cool character, a classic from my childhood, but not a best of the year for me, so he'd be eliminated anyway. Now, Frogmonger, he's a character that would maybe stand a chance. I don't know. I haven't opened him up. I haven't really had a chance to play around with him. But maybe we'll keep him around for consideration. And lastly, I've got Snakeface here. Cool character from the vintage line, but he's not Toy of the Year for me anyway, so he would be eliminated anyway. So these 4 carded figures are still in contention. So now let's take a look at the figures on the desk here. Now, you might think there's a lot more figures here than were featured in the thumbnail for this video. And the reason for that is, when I shot the video for the first quarter, I had a bunch of figures that wouldn't qualify for the 2023 Figure of the Year, and I just had them intermingled with all of my qualifying toys, and I had to kind of go through them and pick them out. This time around, I decided to get them all up front, so this way I can show you the figures that I purchased this quarter. They're new to me, but they are not newly released this year, so they would not qualify for Toy of the Year. So I'm going to get rid of all these guys up front, and then we can focus on all the figures that would qualify. So for starters, we've got a lot of these Marvel retro figures. So this is a really cool line. I really like these guys, but I really wasn't collecting it. I was only buying my absolute favorites. But this year they started showing up in the dollar stores. So I've been getting these figures for quite cheap. But they were not released in 2023 originally, so they would not qualify. So we'll get rid of the Thing, and Firestar, and Nova, and Black Widow, and Thor, and Black Panther. Now also from the dollar store is this little World's Smallest Optimus Prime. He's cute, but he doesn't qualify. Here we've got a Bionic Woman reaction figure. This was released, I think, last year, so she wouldn't qualify. Also, we've got this old Fisher-Price Adventure person. I bought him recently, but he's really old, so he wouldn't qualify. Cthulhu Funko Pop. Now this guy here, this is the Invisible Man from Jada Toys. Now he was released last year, but of all the figures that we're going to eliminate here because they don't qualify, this is the one that I think would have maybe stood a chance to advance to the end of the list. I really like this figure. He's very, very cool. But we're not going to spend too much time on him because he does not qualify. Also these 2 Invincible figures. So I got Invincible himself and Adam Eve. They're cool figures, but I got them this year on sale. I did not buy them when they first came out last year. I've got some of these DC Multiverse figures from McFarlane Toys. So there's Darkest Night, kind of zombie Batman, Darkest Night Firestorm or Deathstorm. We've got this Batman Beyond or Ink. So this was released last year as well, but I got that on sale this year. This Steve Rogers figure is a Marvel Legends. He's quite old, but I picked him up used a couple of months ago, as well as this Iron Man. Cool figure, but not from 2023. At the same time, I also bought this Beast Marvel Legends figure, so he doesn't qualify. A couple more DC Multiverse. So this here is the Green Lantern Kyle Rayner. So he's going to be eliminated. The reason I bought him and all these Blackest Night figures is so I could do the Build-A-Figure of Atrocitus. So I really like Atrocitus. This is a really big, really cool figure. He might have made my list had I got him when he was released last year. But he doesn't qualify for this year, so we'll get rid of him. Here's a couple Marvel Legends released in previous years. So we've got Omega Red, and this guy here is Ragnarok, the clone of Thor. So those are both older releases, so they gotta go. And then there's another Blackest Night figure, so that's like Zombie Superman, so he's gonna go. And then Vulcan here, he's another Marvel Legend. He was also released last year. So we're almost through. Here I've got a couple more DC Multiverse. This is Superman with his beard and his black suit. This is Speeding Bullets. which is like a combination of Superman and Batman. That's why he comes with the flight stand. Both cool figures, but they do not qualify, so they gotta go. Over here I have the Batwing vehicle from the Superpowers collection. You'll see Batman in there. Batman is actually from last year, and I bought him last year. The Batwing, though, I just bought recently, but it was released in 2022, so that does not qualify. And where it's a vehicle, it's debatable whether that should qualify for my best action figure of the year anyway. Just a couple more here. So this is Lady J, the retro figure from the G.I. Joe Classified line. I originally was going to pass on this figure because I thought the Lady J I had in my collection was good enough. But I did get this figure this year, and I really like it. I actually think she might have qualified for my list had I got her last year, but she does not qualify for this year's list. Also, this Power Ranger reaction figure of the White Tiger Zord. So I'm not really a Power Rangers guy, but I thought this guy looked kind of cool. But yeah, he was released last year. And I think there's just two more here. So this is Ninja Spawn. This is a character that was released a year, maybe even 2 years ago. But I passed on it originally, but when I found it on sale, I grabbed it this year. So we'll get rid of him. And lastly, there's this giant Godzilla Funko Pop. And yeah, that was released probably a year or two ago as well when the movie was out. So we'll eliminate those two guys. So here are my actual 2023 contenders for quarter number 2. Now I should add there is one extra little caveat here. So over here you'll notice I've got Storm Shadow from the Classified line. Now this is actually the Storm Shadow figure that came out, I think it was just last year. So he doesn't technically belong here. The thing is, though, I just recently got this new shelf over here where I'm putting my G.I. Joe Classified figures. And I got the retro carded Storm Shadow this year. And you can see I've got the figures still carded on the back of my shelf back there. Kind of zoom in and see in there. So there's Storm Shadow back there. It's almost the same as the Storm Shadow I have down here. And I really didn't want to dig that package out because I'd have to knock all these other toys down. So I'm just leaving him down there, and this Storm Shadow is there as a kind of a placeholder. He's a stand-in for the retro carded Storm Shadow. The main difference is the other Storm Shadow is a little crisper white. He's got bare hands instead of gloved hands, and I think that's mostly it. Anyway, so now let's take a look at these guys. As you can see, I got a variety of toy lines here. Masters Universe, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Spawn, Marvel Legends, and a few other odds and ends. So usually I start with the smaller figures. So I've got a couple of reaction figures from Super 7 here. So this is the Astro Zombie, which is a pretty cool figure. He's decoed to look like an Adventure Person figure, a Fisher-Price Adventure Person, who I actually have handy right here. So this is a toy from my childhood. The green skin, the blue hair, the black outfit. So they took this new toy and decorated it to look like him. So that's really cool. It's a neat figure. But with any of these reaction figures, they're so simple in design that they'd have to be pretty incredible to beat out some of these more detailed figures. So as much as I think this guy's pretty neat, I am going to eliminate him. The Blue Ninja reaction figure, he's a relatively easy elimination because he's just a repaint of Storm Shadow. And I also have this figure in red and black. So yeah, this is like the 4th time I get this figure, so he can go. Now I do have another one of the 3 3/4 inch Marvel Legends figures here. This is Dr. Doom. So this one was actually released this year, and he's pretty cool. But, he's not nearly as good. I'm trying to focus in on him here. I don't know if it's going to let me. He's not nearly as cool as the larger Dr. Doom figures that we've got in the Marvel Legends collection. And plus the fact that this line has basically been canceled now, that kind of diminishes his cool factor a little bit. This might very well be the last figure from this line that I get. So, yeah, he's not qualifying for my Toy of the Year. I've got here a Blockbuster Video Funko Pop. I bought that just because I worked at Blockbuster for a long time, and I'm kind of nostalgic for Blockbuster Video. But this guy here is definitely not a Toy of the Year, so we'll get rid of him. Now, I've only got a couple. I think it's only 2 Transformers here that I got this quarter. So there's Shrapnel, and there's also Dirge back there. Now, Shrapnel, I like a lot. He was a character, a toy that I had as a kid. I really liked him. I'm not ready to get rid of him yet, so I'm going to keep him around for a little while. So I'll just stick him off to the side while we look at some of these other guys. So we've got some Masters of the Universe Origins figures here. So here is Roboto in his mini comic colors. Cool figure. I like Roboto, but I prefer his other color scheme. And this is basically just a repaint, so I'm going to get rid of him. Now, Slamurai here, he's very cool. He is a repaint of Ninjor. But this is the first time I've ever gotten an action figure of this character. So he's cool, but since he was not part of the vintage toy line, I don't really have any nostalgic connection to this character, and he is just a repaint of a figure I already have in my collection. So yeah, he is not Toy of the Year material for me either. Moving over here, we've got a couple more Masters of the Universe. So this is Hypno, and he's from the Sunman kind of sub-series. He's fine, but not Toy of the Year for me. We've got Skeletor in his snake armor. This design has grown on me. I actually kind of like it, but I don't like it enough to be Toy of the Year, so he's going to go. I almost lost Medieval Spawn back there. Let's see if I can get him to stand up. Okay. Now we've got a Snake Warrior. Now this guy is cool looking, but it really is just a couple of figures mashed up and repainted. It's the Horde Trooper body with Ratlor's head. Yeah, and then they repainted him. So it's a cool reuse of parts, but not really unique or individual. King Randor, you know, he's fine. Looks cool. I like King Randor, but he is just He-Man's dad. He's not the most exciting of figures. So we're going to get rid of him. And I think the last Masters of the Universe figure that I have here is Tongue Lasher. And even though I really like the Snake Man and Tongue Lasher is cool, again, these figures, they're just kind of simple, and there's just so many other cool, more detailed figures in here that I just don't think he has a chance. Who knows? Frogmonger might still make the cut, but I think Tongue Lasher is going to go. So we're clearing things out pretty good here. I don't want to jinx myself, but I might be going through this video in record time. The video I shot for the first quarter took like an hour. So I definitely don't want to take that long this time around. So yeah, let's get into some of these more detailed figures. So there's some G.I. Joe Classified in here. Torpedo, for example. And he's going through absolutely. I love this figure. So I might as well get him aside right now because he's going through to the end. Great figure. This Wolfman here. So like the Invisible Man I showed you earlier, this guy is from Jada Toys. Now this guy was released this year. Having a hard time focusing in on him, but yeah, cool figure. But I did get a Wolfman figure from NECA last year, and I think the NECA figure is superior. So yeah, this guy's fun, but he's not Toy of the Year for me, so I'm going to get rid of him. Some Marvel Legends here. So we've got Star-Lord in his like 70s comic book appearance. It's cool that they made a figure of this, but it's not a design that I personally love, so he's going to go. And then this guy here is Crossfire, I want to say. And yeah, he's a kind of an obscure Marvel villain. Cool that they make him, because I like getting obscure villains and such. But yeah, he's not Toy of the Year, so we'll get rid of him. Dr. Spectrum, another kind of obscure character from Marvel Legends. He's basically Marvel's version of the Green Lantern. So yeah, he's kind of neat, but he's mostly just reused parts. The main thing he has going for him is that he's colorful. But as a figure, he doesn't bring a whole lot to the table. So we'll get rid of him. Now, I have very few DC Multiverse that might qualify. I think this Supergirl might be the only one. I have gotten quite a few DC Multiverse figures this quarter, but as you saw earlier, most of them were older figures, so they wouldn't qualify. But this one here is brand new. She just came out to coincide with the Flash live-action movie, which, it was pretty clunky, but I still think you should go see it. I don't think it deserves the bad press that it's getting. So anyway, and I liked it enough that I wanted to go out and buy this Supergirl figure after I saw the movie. So it's a decent figure. I think the likeness for the actress is pretty good. But overall, this outfit is just kind of bland. It's just like a lot of blue. And yeah, it was an okay figure, but it's not a figure of the year. So no DC Multiverse are advancing from this group, I don't think. Let's see. We've got 2 Indiana Joneses here. Maybe we'll talk about them for a second. Now, this movie is also catching a lot of shit right now. People are saying it's not very good. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't very original. It was very much kind of like by the numbers. But it had everything you'd want to see in an Indiana Jones movie. So I don't know why people are saying it's as bad as they are. I thought it was a lot of fun. If you like Indiana Jones, definitely go see it. So there's been a bunch of Indiana Jones figures this year to coincide with the new movie. So this here is like young Indiana Jones based on the original trilogy. And then I've got older Indiana Jones based on the new movie. Now, I think the likeness on the older one is better. But, I obviously like younger Indiana Jones better from Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom and all that stuff. Yeah, I feel like I want to let one Indy stick around at least. And yeah, I'm leaning towards younger Indy, but I really do think that the Dial of Destiny version has the better likeness. So what do I do here? Maybe I'll hold off on that decision. We'll come back to Indiana Jones. Let's get them out of here for now. All right, so we got some more Marvel Legends here. So up front is Yondu from the Guardians of the Galaxy. So this is based on his comic book appearance from the 70s. I love the original Guardians of the Galaxy. Yondu is a great character. I like what they did with him in the movies, but I would have preferred him to be more like his comic book version. So I was super stoked to get this figure. This guy is going through for sure. Whoops. So let's put him over here with Torpedo. Those guys are locks. Snake Eyes here just took a tumble. This is the retro card Snake Eyes. So he came on the old blister card with the explosion on the back. Now Snake Eyes is kind of overdone. I think I have 6 Snake Eyes in the 6-inch classified line already. And I don't know. This one might be my favorite of the bunch though. I really like the design. So, yeah, he's going to stick around. He's not necessarily a lock, but it's a great figure. So we'll push him out of the way here for now. Here we've got a Marvel Legend. This is Fang. He's kind of like a obscure character from the X-Men line, really, I think. And yeah, he's cool. He's kind of like a space werewolf, but he is not Toy of the Year for me, so we'll get rid of him. Zartan, this is a really cool figure. This is the retro card Zartan, but this is the 3rd time we're getting this Zartan figure just repainted. I think this might be my favorite one, but the fact that it's a figure we've already seen a couple of times, it does kind of diminish its wow factor. So I think I'm going to get rid of Zartan. Similarly with Bazooka here, this is a really great figure, but we got Tiger Force Bazooka last year, and even though I think this is the superior version, it does just kind of diminish his kind of newness factor a little bit. So I think I'm going to get rid of Bazooka, but that is a tough cut because this is a really cool figure. Spider-Punk, he's kind of hovering around right up front. This character was really great in the movie. If you haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse yet, I highly recommend it. Based on the animation alone, it was beautiful. Spider-Punk was by far my favorite character in the movie. And they did a pretty good job translating his look into this action figure. I had no interest in buying this figure before I saw the movie, but after I saw it, I had to go out and buy this thing. However, it's just not my preferred aesthetic. Like, he doesn't really blend in with my other Marvel Legends figures because he's got these like spindly little arms. He's done in very animation style. And so even though I think he's really cool, he's not going to be a toy of the year for me. So I think I'm going to eliminate him. So next up we have Shipwreck from G.I. Joe Classified. This is a cool figure, and this is a character I was really looking forward to. However, there's just something about him that's a little bit off. I don't necessarily love his face design. He looks a little too like gaunt, like his cheeks are sunk in. He also looks a little too angry, where he always seemed like a pretty jovial character in the cartoons and stuff. I don't mind that they kind of changed that up, but it does diminish him from becoming one of my favorites. Plus, when I was a kid, my brother Doug had Shipwreck as opposed to me, and I always get more attached to the characters that I had as a kid. So for that reason, Shipwreck is not going to advance, and neither is Polly, his parrot. A couple more Marvel Legends here. So this is Hyperion. He came in a box set with Dr. Spectrum. This is basically Marvel's Superman, or one of them. And you know what? I was never a big fan of him. I think this is a pretty solid figure. I think it's the best Hyperion that they've made. So it's a good version of the character, but he's just not a character that I like very much. So I'm going to get rid of him. And I just dropped my Thor. So this Thor here is from a 2-pack that recently came out with Destroyer over here. Now, Thor, this is a really cool Thor. And he actually had 2 different heads. One where the helmet kind of comes down over his eyes. It's a solid figure. I think it's mostly based on the same figure as the 80th anniversary non-bearded Thor that came out a couple of years ago. And basically the same body as the clone Thor that came out last year that I eliminated earlier in this video. It's a solid figure, but because we've got it so many times, it's a little played out. And it's not really my favorite look for Thor. So, great figure, great 2-pack, but Thor is not going to be a toy of the year for me. Okay, I just did a little shuffle around here. So we've got 2 locks so far. We've got a couple of guys over here that we're still considering. And then over here are the figures that we haven't got around to talking about yet. So, Storm Shadow. So this is standing in for the retro carded figure for me. I really like Storm Shadow. I really liked this figure. And I think the retro card version is an improvement over this guy. But it's not enough of an improvement. Having a little bit of a brighter white and not having gloves, doesn't really warrant becoming toy of the year when this guy was not my toy of the year the previous year, So for that reason, I'm going to eliminate Storm Shadow. And we have Dirge over here. This was a toy that I really wanted because he was released previously in a box set with Ramjet. It was a Target exclusive. I could not find one. I really was disappointed that I missed out on it. So when they decided to re-release the figure in a single box, that was very cool. So I was able to get him. Although I kind of prefer if they had released the box set so I could get Ramjet as well. Anyway, it's a cool figure. I really wanted it. I'm glad I got him. But this is a re-release of a figure from 2 years ago. I don't think they changed it at all. So it's almost a cheat to have him on this list. Plus, it is just a repaint of other Seeker jets. My favorite Seeker is Thrust. And he made my best of list a year or 2 ago. And this is basically just a repaint of that figure. He's got a different head sculpt, but otherwise it's the same. So Dirge is cool, but he's not my toy of the year, so we're going to get rid of him. A couple more G.I. Joes. Rock and Roll. This is a cool Rock and Roll. I do like it. They gave him a lot of neat little details, like the Hang 10 on his helmet. And he's got like basically tattoo sleeves on both arms. He's very cool. I like him a lot. This is not a character that I had a huge attachment to because, again, my brother Doug had him when we were kids. I'm not ready to eliminate, but I'm not ready to commit. So he's going to go over with the think about it pile. Copperhead. This is a character that, again, my brother Doug owned as a kid. But in this case, the figure is just so damn cool that he's going to advance. This guy is another lock, so we're going to push Copperhead through. Now this figure here you might be wondering about. This is actually the Marvel Legend figure Egghead that came out this year, so it would qualify for the list. But I wasn't even going to buy Egghead because I think he's kind of a lame character. But when I saw the body with the white lab coat and the blue pants and the red tie, I thought that would be perfect to make a custom of the G.I. Joe character Dr. Venom, who used to appear in the old Marvel comic books. And I had this extra head, which is from a Doctor Doom figure. It's Doctor Doom unmasked. And I thought, yeah, that head on this body would make a great Dr. Venom. Now, the skin tones don't match up perfectly, but otherwise, I think it's pretty great. And this is how I have him displayed in my collection. He's on my G.I. Joe shelf rather than my Marvel Legends shelf. However, this is a cheat because it is a custom. Egghead would never make my list. So I don't think I can let Dr. Venom advance because, yeah, he doesn't really exist. He wasn't an actual figure that was put out by Hasbro. So I'm going to eliminate Dr. Venom. So we still have some very cool figures here that we haven't talked about. I've got 2 of NECA's Universal Monsters. So I got the Wolfman last year. This year I've got the Invisible Man and Dracula. These are both great. The Invisible Man, I bought the 2 figures kind of to do a comparison. So I get the Jada version and the NECA version. They both have strengths and weaknesses. It's hard to say which one is better overall. However, I just like the look of the Invisible Man in his bathrobe with the full facial bandages rather than with like the rubber nose that this guy has with the hair poking out. It's kind of nice that the 2 figures aren't identical. It gives me 2 different looks for Invisible Man on my shelf. But because this is my less preferred look for Invisible Man, I'm going to eliminate him. Plus, there was no doubt in my mind as soon as I got this Dracula figure, he was definitely going to advance on my Figure of the Year list. The likeness to Bela Lugosi is just fantastic. He's got so many cool accessories. It's a great look. The cloth cape hangs on him really well. So Dracula here is a lock. So now we've got some bigger figures in the back. We've got Beta Ray Bill from Marvel Select. This is a very cool figure. I love that swinging hammer accessory. I don't know if you can see that in there, but yeah, that's super cool. This is a great figure. He's big, he's bulky, but he does not move very well. And this is not my preferred look for Beta Ray Bill. I would like his more classic 80s comic look. He didn't have that big plumage on his helmet and everything back in the day. So while this is a great figure, not only is it not my preferred look, but because it's Marvel Select, he feels a little oversized. I can't really display him with my Marvel Legends. I don't really collect Marvel Select figures, so he's kind of an oddity in my collection. So, very cool figure, but I'm going to eliminate him. And then we have Monolith. So this is a newer character from the Spawn line. Now, I just reviewed this guy recently. As soon as I saw this figure was announced, I thought this could be one of my best of the year. He's just a cool new character. And it's nice when you read a new character in the comic books and then there's a toy comes out right afterwards. Right when the strike while the iron's hot type of thing. And so yeah, I'm enjoying reading about this guy presently in the comic book. And it's really cool to have this figure of him. It's big. It's detailed. He looks great. So yeah, this guy I'm going to say is going to advance. So he is a lock as well. The Destroyer. So this came in the 2-pack with Thor. The design is relatively simple. There's hardly any paint apps on this guy, but it is a really solid figure. He's big. He's cool. I like him. He's going to advance as well. Ronin. Also a very cool figure. Big, bulky. I love the greens on him. He's got the big hammer there. He's cool, but I think I'm going to have to eliminate him as well. I already have, from the first quarter video, Terrax, which is another kind of Marvel cosmic character with a big hammer. He is already advanced to my next round. And I don't see Ronin and Terrax both making it to the end. And Terrax I prefer over Ronin. I don't really like the way the shoulder pads work on this guy, which is another reason why I'm letting him go. It kind of hinders his movement. So, yeah, cool figure, but he's going to go. So the final two figures that we haven't talked about, these guys are brand new to my collection. I have not talked about either of these figures in a prior video yet. Most of these other figures, you can go find a video where I have reviewed them already. But yeah, not Red Sonja or Medieval Spawn. And they are both really cool figures. Yeah, they're both super awesome. Lots of nice detail, lots of accessories. Big hammer, big sword, big spiky boots. You know, she looks very good. Her chainmail bikini, she's got a big sword. She also came with a big axe. Face sculpt is very nice. So yeah, I feel confident saying that both of them will advance as well. So now let's reshuffle here and see what we've got. Okay, so we currently have 8 figures advancing. So that's Medieval Spawn, Red Sonja, the Destroyer, Monolith, Torpedo, Yondu, Dracula, and Copperhead. Now for figures that are still in contention, we've got 2 Indiana Joneses, Rock and Roll and Snake Eyes from the Classified line, Shrapnel from Transformers, also Frogmonger from Masters of the Universe, and then we've got all 3 Black Hole reaction figures. So when it comes to the reaction figures, I love all of these guys, but Vincent and Bob are a little too similar. And I think if I had to pick one over the other, it would be Vincent, because I had a Vincent action figure when I was a kid. It looked a lot like this one, and I got rid of it. I wish I hadn't. So it's very cool to replace it with this new figure here. So I think I can eliminate Bob. And out of the 2 of these ones, I'm actually kind of tempted to keep Maximilian. He's kind of the evil droid. You know, he's bigger and scarier as opposed to this guy here who's a little cuter, like an R2-D2. However, I got larger versions of these figures from Diamond Select Toys a couple of years ago, and Maximilian made my best of list there. So I think if anybody's going to advance, I think I'm going to push Vincent through, and I'm going to let Maximilian go, even though all of these Black Hole figures are really, really cool. So I now have 9 figures advancing through to the next round, with another 6 up front here. So even if I let all 6 of these guys go through, that would leave me with 15 from this video, which is acceptable. From my first quarter video, I ended up with 17 figures that were advancing. So I don't really have a set number. Ideally, I wanted to keep it under 20 for each quarter. That way I would only have about 80 figures to whittle it down to my top 20 at the end of the year. So if I can get through with 15, that's pretty good. But I think I have to at least eliminate one of these Indiana Joneses. So are all these other guys a lock? Frogmonger, I don't know. He's kind of goofy looking, and the Masters of the Universe Origins figures, just the style of them is kind of simple. It's almost like apples and oranges when you compare an Origins figure to, say, a Classified figure, because there's just so much more detail there. But I do plan on opening this guy up very soon. Maybe when I do, I will think, like, yeah, this guy he's not figure of the year material. But for now, I'm going to hold on to him. I'll let him fight another day. And maybe after he's opened up, I'll change my mind. But for now, I'll push him back there with the locks. Rock and Roll. He's a great figure, so we'll push him back there with the locks as well. Shrapnel. He's going through. The figure itself isn't anything, mind-blowing. But it's just a great looking version of this character. And it's a character that I have some personal attachment to. So, yeah, he's going to go through. And that leaves me with Retro Card, Snake Eyes, and 2 Indiana Joneses. When it comes to the indies, I think I have to go with Dial of Destiny, Indiana Jones. Yeah. It's not an easy decision because if I was basing these on the movies, obviously the original trilogy is superior to, the later movies where he's an older man. But I think just figure-wise, this is a nicer looking figure. So, yeah. Dial of Destiny, Indiana Jones is going to advance. Raiders, unfortunately, he's going home. Snake Eyes, I'm a little torn. Again, because Snake Eyes is just so overdone. I have so many other Snake Eyes in my collection. But I really like the Commando version of Snake Eyes. You know, we get so many ninja versions with the visor. And I know a lot of people really liked the previous version of the Commando Snake Eyes we got, but there was something about it that just felt a little off to me. This one here feels truer to the original 1982 Snake Eyes figure. And yeah, he's pretty rad, so I might as well push him through as well. So here's just one final look at my top 14 from the second quarter of 2023. So we've got retro carded Snake Eyes, Shrapnel from Transformers Legacy, Torpedo from G.I. Joe Classified, Yondu from Marvel Legends, Monolith from Spawn, Destroyer from Marvel Legends, Dracula from NECA's Universal Monsters, Dial of Destiny Indiana Jones from Hasbro, Copperhead and Rock and Roll from G.I. Joe Classified, the Vincent reaction figure from Super 7, Medieval Spawn from McFarlane Toys, Frogmonger from Mattel's Masters of the Universe Origins figures, and Red Sonja, who was made by a smaller little company, which the name is escaping me right now. But, yeah, not a bad lineup, I don't think. Okay, so that was my best of 2023 second quarter video. So thank you for those of you that actually sat through that whole process with me. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, I always have fun doing this stuff. I love making lists and everything like that. So it's kind of nice doing it quarterly rather than save it all for the end of the year. So I think we got a great bunch of figures here this year out of these final 14 that I ended up on. I'm not sure how many will make it to my best of the year list come December, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe, as you know, I'm posting new videos pretty much every week. So yeah, stay tuned for those, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Ciao.